Why draw stuff? Hello, my name is Edgar and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, as the title says, why draw stuff? And I begin my video erasing this illustration, this drawing that I've done. The backstory to this: I had started to draw this lady from a reference image. I had already set up my concept, my tiny thumbnail concept, on my sketchbook, and I had tried, I think, like 2 or 3 times, and I was just about to quit. This was the concept that I was going with. So I had tried a couple of times and I was like, nope, this is not working. I'm not going to do this. But then I thought, if I want to, if at all I'm going to progress, or if at all I'm going to get better at this drawing thing, I just need to push through this bit of, I can't do this, or it's not looking like the way I wanted it to, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go and find something else that is easier, that I'm more comfortable with, that is, quicker, that can attract more views and the like. But then I said, no, I'm going to push through, because this is the way, this is the only way I'm going to learn, improve, get better at what I do. I'm going to pursue the statement that practice makes for progress, and not practice makes perfect, in the sense that I'm looking for something that I already know I'm good at, so that I can do that and I know that it's going to be a good illustration in the end, and I'm going to show it off and post it on social media and stuff like that. So I figured I'm gonna go through it. I'm going to push through, and I'm going to create this illustration, and just see where it goes. So it looks nothing like the reference. And I think at this point, I already decided that I'm now going to use the reference as a reference and not as the image I am trying to reproduce, but in, pencil colors. I'm using Prismacolor pencil colors, and I'm using Winsor and Newton watercolor paper, Cotman watercolor paper, 300 GSM, I think. For those who know these technicalities, they'll get it. I don't really look at these things very much. I just, go with what I want to do and find what can best get me there. Although it's really good to look at these specifications, so you don't end up either wasting your paper or misusing materials, or if you were going to say use acrylic or watercolor, it's good to check your paper and tools to know this. So if you saw in the beginning, there was a pencil outline at the bottom. This was the one that I realized did not work, or did not give me what I wanted initially, and I was going to quit. But when I decided to go forth with it, I thought I'll go over with the red color pencil and see where that goes. And if I'm to make a mistake, I'll just change and take another color and see where that goes. So I've shifted from red to blue, and I just go on to drawing and trying to just draw using the color itself without necessarily having an outline apart from the one that's already existing that I tried to erase. But I think because of the paper and the pencil that I was using, I was not using a normal pencil. I was actually using a graphite stick, 6B. So yeah, that probably says something about taking care of the type of materials that you want to use. So in summary, that is why you should draw. I mean, if that works for you, you can just, go on to the next video. I actually don't go on to the next video. You can actually go on and draw something yourself. The reason why you should draw is so that you can improve on your skills, is so that you can get better at what you do, but it's also so that you can challenge what you are already doing and hopefully gain new skills, gain new expertise, progress, not necessarily become perfect at, because I think perfection is very difficult to chase or to achieve, but it's more about improvement. It's more about repetition with intentionality that produces progress. That is why you should practice. So instead of making this a masterpiece that I want to post or for print or for whatever other reason, I thought, why not do it just to do it and see what will come out in the end. And then after that, critique what comes out in the end. Be willing to see your mistakes and be willing to see how you will improve on those mistakes. But if you do not do it from the beginning, like if you do not decide to illustrate or draw something or do whatever it is that you want to do, unless it is perfect, then you're going to miss out on the progress. You're going to miss out on the improvement. And that is the reason why I drew this illustration, or I progressed with this illustration. It looks nothing like the reference, but I decided to use the reference as a source of inspiration because my concept, the shape and direction from my concept thumbnail is similar to the reference that I found. And I started with my concept before I looked for the reference. So sometimes you find a reference and then you try to redraw the reference or build your concept around the reference. But in my case, I come up with an idea and then I look for a reference that suits that idea. And sometimes when you use like when your concept is great and it needs multiple references, then you want to look for references that have like a similar light source or a similar shadow direction or pattern. This is where I travel in time for a bit, and then we come up here where the image is a bit more developed. Yeah, so at this point I'm just using the reference for shadows, for shapes, and just how to arrange the forms. I travel a bit more in time here, and then I come back. There was just something wrong with the camera, so anyway, you keep pushing through. You don't wait for, if you wait for perfection, if you wait for the best camera, if you wait for the best of everything, you're not really gonna, you're gonna be stuck in a place for a long time. And I think the rest of this is gonna be filling in the rest of the image. So I think I'm just gonna let that run for a couple of minutes and then probably come back when I have something, something deeper and profound and mind-boggling to say. Oh yeah, so I got some mind-boggling things. One is when you're drawing or when you're doing illustrations, try and like stop and move back or go out of the room and come back in. That might help you see some things that you missed. And this all goes back to the reason of why should you draw. Like the entire premise of this discussion is working alongside this image. If I did not draw this image, I would not have thought of these things. I would not have thought or remembered or revisited these concepts of like stepping away or, you know, hatching and trying to build the form or the shape of the muscles of whatever the subject is that you're drawing. So the tip here is you can move back and that helps you see different things. For example, there's something that will come up at the end, but I didn't notice it until I was editing this video. That was supposed to be a commercial break. So if anyone from SQUARESPACE is watching this or SKILLSAHRE, that was for you. That was where you would call me and say, hey, Hapa, I want to work with you. That little black gap there, that was just a hint. That's where I would have added your ad. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. But yes, the thing that I noticed while I was editing this video was there is a line that appears from the eye down to the nose and like it goes to the lip and it forms like some sort of a tear. But I did not intentionally draw that. It came out as I was just hatching, and I think it's maybe because of the texture of the paper and you know, the colors I'm using, the pencil colors, or maybe my smooth artistic motion. What am I saying? Anyway, that happened on its own. But these little things, I guess you see them when you step back and you come back. You step back and you come back. Just gonna let that guy ride through. Step back and come back, step back and come back. And they reveal themselves as you keep on drawing. So that's the other thing you can do. Step back, don't necessarily want to finish everything instantaneously. Again, don't pursue perfection, but pursue progress. You are progressing towards a perfection, towards a perfect state. I mean, not towards some form of perfection, but you're not necessarily wanting that perfection, because what is that perfection? Is it the way, let's say, Edgar draws, I draw Hapa, or is it the way, I don't know, some other artist that you like draws? And once you've achieved that, is that the end, or is there more? Is it the way the you know, the great art masters of the past, how they drew, the Leonardos and Rembrandt and I forget them, Monet, you know, all these guys. I don't necessarily like look up to them that much. I mean, they fascinate me, but I can't really say at the moment that I want to be like this guy, or this guy's art inspires me to draw. Because I'm a self-taught artist, I just had to learn everything as I went, and I just, looked for reference wherever I could get it, and then that's what I used to achieve what I wanted to do. So I appreciate what they do, although I don't necessarily like have any of them as my heroes, or I'm not that deep into it. I would say I'm not that deep. I just draw because I draw. But again, you just have to keep drawing in order to become or to improve or to learn. And if you look at these guys, the greats of the past, when they would draw, they would do these things called studies, right? And studies were like practice sketches before you do the final one. Nowadays, for me personally, like when I want to draw something, I think of it and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hit the paper and I want it to come out one shebang and I'm done. At least that's what I used to do like in the past few years. But of recent, after studying these guys' skills, and by studying I mean, watching the YouTube videos that talk about them, they're called like video essays as opposed to like reading books and lectures, that too. But there's a lot of video essays, I think, on these great artists. After you study that and looking at how other artists do, especially fine artists like oil painters and stuff like that, they do these things called studies where they do sample or little sketches or illustrations of what they intend to do in the end, and then they can either study the lighting or the tones or the color. And so by doing that, it's like kind of the thing that I was saying of you have to draw to draw, you have to draw to improve, or you have to draw to progress. So imagine if they're doing all those little things just for this one painting. They go through little sketches or little paintings, to get what they want in the end. So I guess if they do it and they're already at that level of quote unquote perfection, so I think, we can probably do a little bit of that as well. We can probably put in the work as well, just to draw, to improve, to progress. And trust me, it's gonna just improve on what you're doing, and then you can apply that attitude with anything else. When you think about starting a YouTube channel, are you gonna wait till you get like fancy cameras, or are you just gonna do what you can with what you have? Are you gonna wait till you're ready, or in the words of Machiavelli, start before you think you're ready? Are you gonna like wait for perfection to catch up with you, or I don't know how that works? Or are you just gonna go for it, and if perfection comes, it'll find you on the way? Anyway, I think I have ranted enough, and I'm just gonna let this really fast sketching hand do its thing. So the image is done. I finished it, added a bit more detail, but I thought that I'll talk about some of the things that I could have changed or worked better at. I'm just going to use my nifty ruler here. So the one thing that I realized first of all is the eyes. I do not think the eyes are... The eyebrows are probably not so bad, but I think the eyes are a bit off, especially this one. It looks a bit wonky. Like this is where I think it would go, but it's kind of like going this way. And a thing that I like to do is like I try to cover the eye and see what happens. Like if I cover that, the image looks a bit different, or if I cover this eye, Anyway, that's something I'll change. I think the lips are looking a bit better. I'm not sure. I tried to edit a bit of this, but I think there's also a bit of a problem with the chin here and just the general where the forehead meets the hair. But there's a lot of corrections that can happen, but it's worth the attempt, I guess. And on to the next one. Subscribe, like, share.